Come on into the Postgame Show presented by Rico. I'm Gabriella DiGiovanni here with Fran Duffy and Ike Reese. What an afternoon here in South Philadelphia. The Eagles returned home. It was a chance to pick up their first win at home here at Lincoln Financial Field, and they didn't get it done. It was a good game. It was a close game. It was tied up until those final seconds, but they still lost. Yeah,
this is one of those ones that as players, coaches, you have a hard time sleeping after this one because you put forth a good effort. You had a good week of preparation. The guys came out ready to play. I love the game plan on both sides of the ball. It really was the recipe for a win today. Yep. They just couldn't get the play that they needed late in the game. And I think defensively, they couldn't come up with the big play late in the game. I thought the offense answered the bell when they needed to. We ran the ball with consistency. Jalen, I thought, was tremendous in the fourth quarter on those two drives where he was able to tie the ball game up. But in a game like this, against a team like the Chargers, we just needed one more play defensively, and I think they would have been able to come out with a W today.
Especially those last two drives.
Yeah.
You look at those last two, third downs were critical down the stretch here for this Eagles defense. Just could not get off the field, and we'll kind of go a little bit play-by-play here down the stretch, but just unfortunate, like Ike said, just unable to make that one final play to get the ball back into the offense's hands late.
We're going to keep digging into all of this right here on the show as we welcome in our Eagles insider who's over at Lincoln Financial Field, Dave Spadaro. Welcome on. We just started scratching the surface here. Obviously, a loss is a loss, but certainly some bright spots to take away from today. One being that run game. What did you think about the job that the Eagles did on the ground today?
They ran the ball well. They had really good balance. At one point in the first half, they had 24 of 27 plays that ended up running the football. And that's encouraging, but what got the offense going was the pass game. So good balance, a lot of positives from this. I'm going to go back to a couple of earlier plays. You guys were talking about late plays. Early first drive, Dallas Goedert open, couldn't connect on a pass from Jalen Hurts, and then at the end of the first half, Devonta Smith open in the back of the end zone, couldn't make the connection. So that came back to haunt the Philadelphia Eagles, who played really hard. It was a great football game. Awesome atmosphere here. The fans totally into it. Just as you guys said, just couldn't get the last stop and get the football back.
Dave, one big highlight offensively, the rookie first-round pick, Devonta Smith, made some crucial receptions really throughout the course of the game. A bunch early on and then down the stretch, a couple of huge ones. Obviously, the touchdown late as well. What did Devonta look like up close in person down the field?
He looks like what he always looks like, Fran. He's open. He's got great route running ability. He separates perfectly. I mean, the quick feet. The only thing about Devonta in this first 9 games, he's had a drop here and there, which is really unusual, and I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. But today he was on point as expected, and also the Chargers missing some of their top cornerbacks. So the Eagles were able to take advantage of that and really get the offense going. Again, as I look at things, good balance, but you need to have chunk plays, and the Eagles were able to get that going in the passing game in the second half.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me, Dave, when I look at the defensive side of the football, is that they had some nice stops on fourth down, down there near the goal line, able to stop the Chargers from scoring early in the first half. Then another opportunity, I believe in the second quarter, when they got a big stop on fourth down. But they couldn't come up with the turnover when they needed to. And it seemed like when Justin Herbert had to make a play through the air, we just couldn't find a way to come up with the play defensively. What'd you think of the game plan from a defensive standpoint today?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we understand the template here from Jonathan Gannon and likely most defensive coordinators. You win when your defensive line takes over, and we saw that last week. 6 quarterback sacks in Detroit. The Eagles D-line took over, and you can do a lot of things on the back end. Well, today, the Chargers did a nice job up front, and when the Eagles did have pressure on Herbert, he showed why he's a special talent. It also did not help the Eagles that Darius Slay was out of the game for as long as he was with that hamstring injury. So, I agree with you. You wanted to get a takeaway, but Herbert had time in the pocket. He was able to roll. He made some great throws. The one down the field to Mike Williams, that diving catch was terrific. Keenan Allen was a weapon in this game. And then Herbert ran that last drive to absolute perfection, fueled by the run game and an offense that wasn't afraid to go for it on fourth down.
And Dave, adding to that too, all the rotation in the secondary, you had Avonte Maddox kind of in and out of the game. So we saw Andre Chachere early on. We saw a lot of Marcus Epps in the slot. I was interested to see if you saw anything else live that we missed here on TV.
Yeah, saw a lot of Zach McPherson in this game. Davion Taylor at the linebacker position was all over the field. So there's really good growth from some of those young players who are being forced into action because of injuries. And the Eagles hung in there today. It's just a good football team. Came to South Philadelphia today and beat the Eagles. And no shame at all here, just tough that the Eagles couldn't find a way to get off the field at the end.
Yeah, and they weren't going to win this game, Dave, by being in a shootout. So I love the game plan coming into the game. They wanted to stay committed to the run, keep that Chargers offense on the sideline. They were able to do that. Only 8 total possessions for both teams. 8 possessions in a football game in today's age, that means somebody's running the ball. What'd you think of Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, that offensive line in the running game? And do you think that is something that we can count on seeing moving forward, this type of commitment to the running game?
Yeah, I think like we talked about this on the pregame show earlier on the radio, that you do have a chance here to build off what you did last week. And last week, the Eagles ran the football with great confidence. Today, they ran the football with great physicality, great confidence. And I think moving forward, that is a staple in this offense. You know that you can run the football. Now, it's going to get a little bit more difficult. The Chargers came into this game as the worst defense in the league against the run. So, yeah, but you certainly have something to build on here. Physical play, 2 different styles with Boston Scott and Jordan Howard. Kenny Gainwell ran well in the between the tackles in the red zone. You can run the football, yes, and I think the Eagles will employ that tact offensively moving forward. Again, though, you still got to get the pass game going, and that's really what got the points on the board. In the first half, all those runs added up to 10 points. You need to have more than 10 points generally in today's NFL in the first half to have a lead.
All right, Dave, well, we're going to keep chipping away at this game here on the show. Thanks so much for your time.
All right, guys, take care.
All right, Dave mentioned that run game, and you started talking about the offensive line. I think a bright spot on this team has been the offensive line, all things considered. When you think about the young talent and, quite honestly, the inexperience across that line, Landon Dickerson, we've talked about him the past few weeks now. He is a rookie, and he didn't play much in camp. He's playing well, and they're a huge part, obviously, in why this run game has been successful so far.
And it's been great to see. You know, Jeff Stoutland, we've been fortunate enough to have him here almost a decade now. To help lead us to a Super Bowl championship in 2017 with the #1 rushing team in the league. You look at this offense right now, the offensive line is the best unit to me. You know, they may not have the biggest names and the most sexy names, but I think when you look at man for man and what they're asked to do every week, I love what they've been doing. And I love the fact that they put the onus of the offense on this offensive line's shoulders. And for the last two and a half weeks, the Raiders game kind of got away from them. But I like what they've done the last 2 weeks. They've stayed with it, and they've clearly shown the ability to move the chains. And I know Dave wants more points on the board, but this is a 60-minute football game. And when you start throwing the ball early in the game and you're not having success, you know what you're doing? You're on the sideline watching the other team's offense go up and down the field on your defense. I like what we did in the first half of this game. It controlled the clock. You look at the time of possession in that first half, it was basically even. And that's why the score was the way it was. The Eagles even had the lead at halftime. With a team like the Chargers, you got to make this a 4-quarter game. You can lose the game in the first half. You can't win it in the first half.
Yeah, they had 2 punts to open the game, with 3 out of their first 5 drives, including that one 3-and-out early in the second half. I think when you look at the offensive line, it really comes down to 2 things with this run game. Number one, they're going to lean on their zone runs, where those guys are just moving people off the ball. So that gets into the talent standpoint and those guys and what they're doing up front. But then you get into the schematics and the X's and O's. And I thought we saw a lot more multiplicity from the Eagles in this game. We saw not just the zone runs, but we saw some design quarterback runs for Jalen Hurts. We saw the read option game where Jalen Hurts was either giving it off or keeping the ball. And then we also saw some offensive linemen pulling. We saw tackle power. We saw counter. We saw various different gap schemes. So when you start checking off the boxes about the different kinds of runs, keeping the Chargers on their toes, the multiplicity in the run game really stood out to me in this one as well.
There's definitely a lot of layers to the run game today, which I think is why that they have been successful. You know, you look at last week, they rushed for over 200 yards. Today, 176. But I think a huge part of that is what Fran is saying. You know, when they would be in certain situations and Jordan Howard would run on, you know that they had a plan in place for Jordan Howard. That's why you put him there in that position. The same thing with that Kenny Gainwell touchdown. He was put there for a reason. There was a design specifically for Kenny Gainwell. So one that is confidence that's growing in that offensive line, but also starting to learn the backs that you now have in Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, and Jordan Howard, how to best deploy them and what the offense can get out of them, I think is why they have been so successful, because the offense, I felt like today for the first time looked very settled and confident in the game plan.
And I love the style of the runners that we have in there now. You know, Miles Sanders is our top back, and when he gets healthy, he's going to be in there. But he can take a little bit of a lesson from what he's seeing his teammates do, and that's being decisive. Get downhill. The one thing about Boston Scott and Jordan Howard, they know who they are as runners. When you have the ability and the skills of Miles Sanders, you have the ability to hit a home run at any point. So then the gift can be a curse, right? Because then you're looking for that home run as opposed to just looking for positive blades of grass. And that's what you're getting from Boston and Jordan Howard. They aren't home run hitters, and they know they aren't home run hitters. They're trying to get downhill right now, and they're going to take whatever yards that are available to them. They run tough, so they're not easy to bring down. So some of the runs I see with Howard and Boston out there, they don't even look like they're real holes there. But the fact that they're going forward and that offensive line knows all they have to do is continue to get that push, they're able to make a 3-yard run into a 7-yard run or a 6-yard run. And I think moving forward, that's something that all the running backs can take note of.
I do think the one thing, if we're going to spin this forward a little bit, and I think Ike is right. I think this is going to be the identity of this offense moving forward. I think that's one thing we've seen. They've been really consistent these last 2 weeks offensively, centered around the run game. So if they continue to build off that, the thing is, and when you have those positive runs, you're not getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage, the running backs are getting downhill, you're getting ahead of the sticks, but you're going to face third downs. It's not going to be like last week against Detroit where you're running for first downs every other carry. You're going to have 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 5s. When those situations occur, you have got to have answers. Today, the Eagles went 8 for 12 on 3rd down. That's big. That's something that was a big part of the reason why they were in this game late. But when you look at the way they achieved those first downs, it was 9 different dropbacks, 9 passes here on 3rd down. You had 2 incompletions, the one to Dallas Goedert on that opening drive that Dave alluded to where he missed the touchdown, once to Devonta Smith in the end zone. That could have been a touchdown. And then you had the 3rd down sack to Joey Bosa. So you had those 3 dropbacks. After that, guys, it was 6 scramble drills where when you have those scramble drills, yeah, there are some good things that can happen, but that is very hard to sustain. So that's just one thing to watch here moving forward. Can they continue to find ways to execute on 3rd down? Because those scramble drills, they can look fun, and you can move the chains, and that's big. You obviously want to use Jalen Hurts' legs, but sometimes those are going to work, and other times they're not going to. Here today, they worked more often than not, so that was a good thing. But just something to watch moving forward. That will be important for this offense.
You have to remember what Dave mentioned earlier, of course. The Chargers ranked at the bottom of the league in run defense. So good on the Eagles in capitalizing and taking advantage of that. But obviously, they're not going to always be against a defense like that and who's not really built or prepared for a strong run game. So we can't forget that. But I think another bright spot on this offense, you mentioned him at the start of the show, Ike, is, of course, Jalen Hurts. I thought today was a huge step forward for him. I thought he looked very settled. I thought he made good decisions. I thought the decision-making wasn't decisions that he was making because he was scattered or he was unsure. I thought that they were very decisive decisions, and I thought he used his legs when he had to, and he wasn't trying to make something out of nothing.
Yeah, good complimentary football today when you look at the offensive game plan. Obviously, they wanted to come in and establish the run, and then we're going to get the play-action pass off of the run game. I thought Jalen got off to a little bit of a slow start. You know, a couple plays there. I know he wants back. We keep bringing up the Goddard play and the Devonta Smith play. He didn't have a ton of throws in that first half. I thought where he really showed up was late in the game. When they needed him to extend drives. He made a couple decisions when he ran the ball where he could have easily gone out of bounds to preserve his body, but he realized we need a first down to keep this drive going, and he was smart enough to do that. So, and that's where the gamer in him comes to life, you know, and that's the good thing about Jalen as a player and as a competitor. things may not look great early in the game. They may not go as planned early in the game, but you put him in a tight football game late, and he's going to find ways to at least give you an opportunity to win. And that's what he was able to do. Love the fact that he was out there fighting and battling. Would have liked to have seen him get the ball one more time to see if he could go down there and score. But his skill set is going to benefit this offense the best late in games, right? It's late in games when you got the little phonetic play and you may need a little helter-skelter type of extensions out there. He's going to be able to do that to you. It's tough to live off of that for 4 quarters, 60 minutes, but late in the game when you need somebody to step up, he's going to have the ability to do it.
I mean, as a defensive player, are you tired of chasing that guy in the fourth quarter? You got to chase that guy around. They don't like that. I think, too, one big thing that we've seen them, we talked about the run game and how that's big. Play action has been really good for Jalen Hurts. And Ella, you referenced how he's looking decisive on some of these throws. Well, when you have play action, those throws tend to be more defined. They tend to be more clear windows. You've got linebackers stepping up. You're stretching the defense with something vertical down the field. We've seen that to Dallas Goedert in the weeks past. This week, it seemed to be Devonta Smith who was on the other end, a lot of those play-action passes.
And I think it's interesting, it's going to be interesting to see as Jalen Hurts continues to develop how they use his weapons. We saw Jalen Ricoh was utilized quite a lot earlier in the season. Obviously, he's been working his way back from injury, but we didn't see much of him tonight. A lot of the load was on the run game and Devonta Smith. A few passes there to Goddard and Quez Watkins, of course, too. But as he becomes more decisive, how will that allow the game plan to evolve when you know that he can throw from the pocket, he is more accurate, and then he relies on his legs when needed? I
think the more consistent he is, the more comfortable they're going to be with giving him more to do. I love that last touchdown to Devonta Smith. I don't know if Jalen was forced to stay in the pocket. He sat there. He went through his progressions. And, I mean, he delivered a seed to Devonta Smith right in stride, allowed Devonta to catch that ball and then run in for a touchdown. Arguably his best throw of the game. And the fact that he was in the pocket with a little bit of chaos around him and he didn't bail out of the pocket, that's what we're talking about. When you see those colors around your feet or what have you, sometimes you can get happy feet. And that's what they mean by quarterbacks who get happy feet. The first time they see the opposite color, they're ready to get out of the pocket. I thought on that play, he had opposite colors around him. He stood in there and delivered like I said, a seed to Devonta Smith in stride. I think that allowed Devonta to be able to run and get in the end zone.
And that's the thing. I think when people think about, what you have to do for a quarterback, we want to do run game and play action and define the throws, that's a knock on the quarterback. Last I checked, the guy who won MVP last year, Aaron Rodgers, ran an offense that was extremely quarterback-friendly, lots of screens, lots of running the ball with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon and Jamal Williams a year ago, ton of play action, ton of RPOs. That's the NFL. That's where teams are having success right now. So for the Eagles to find that level of success these last 2 weeks offensively, now it's about just trying to keep that momentum going.
All right, speaking of momentum, let's talk a little bit about the defense. They were definitely rolling the momentum from last week into this week. I'm going to get Ike fired up a little bit and talk about T.J. Edwards, who's now stacking the games.
Yeah, both young linebackers. Listen, T.J. was flying around today. Each game he seems to be getting more and more comfortable out there. I love his mindset. He feels that he's a starter, so it's no big deal to him being out there, being given this opportunity. Always seems to make plays, rarely misses tackles, always around the football. And friend, we watch him on film. He's like a magnet to the ball. He just seems to find where that ball is, and when he gets there, he's there with the intention of delivering pain. Love the way TJ played today. I mean, the play he made on Austin Eckler I think it was fourth down. The fourth down play where he had to basically scrape, run to the side. And that's not an easy play to square the running back up and bring him down. What you'll often see is a guy try to grab his waist or what have you, and then the tackler slides off the runner, and the runner falls forward for the first down. TJ is able to get there, get squared up in front of him, wrap him up, and bring him down. I mean, that was like a 2-yard gain on a 3rd and 3. Fourth and 3.
Yeah, and one thing that's not talked about a lot with linebacker play is angles. And I feel like his angles to the football are always pinpoint. He is always where he needs to be.
Man, and that's something young fella can watch film and take note of, Davion Taylor.
Sure.
I mean, he has all that athleticism and that speed, and he's playing fast. Got to play a little more under control. And when you're in the open field, the hardest thing to do in this league is tackle these athletes in the open field. Running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, they get you one-on-one. They can make you look silly out there. But you brought up TJ, And he does a great job of coming to balance, right? So you get there fast, you get under control, you come to balance, and then you explode into the ball carrier. Once Davion continues to get that experience, man, it's going to be great to watch him out there playing because he has all the physical attributes that you want in a linebacker.
I feel like we're seeing more flashes from Davion each and every week. He nearly had that big stop at the end. If the Chargers hadn't called timeout, that would have been a big play. He had a couple other nice stops in this game. So good to see some good things from number 52.
And for Davion Taylor, too, of course, we're going to see his workload increase. It was already increased today without Eric Wilson now. So only an opportunity for him to grow, especially since TJ Edwards is playing so well and you have Alex Singleton in that linebacker room with you as well. It's a great opportunity for Davion Taylor to develop here in Philadelphia.
And, I mean, it really is. And, you know, just stay in that film room, continue to get better at the little nuances of the game so you don't have to think as much. I can remember being a young player and you're almost like a robot out there. You want to remember to go to point A and then to B and then to C, and instead of just playing, let your instincts take over. And once you stop thinking about all the small things and it just become reactionary to you, man, you're going to see what they saw in this kid when they took him in the 3rd round. Because like I said, there's a lot of physical attributes there that can make him a very good linebacker at this level. He has the size, the speed that you need to play linebacker in today's game. He just has to understand where to be and when to be there.
Yeah, I thought there was a really good examples of quality linebacker play in this game. Obviously, there were a couple of missed tackles on some critical plays, but guess what? Austin Eckler is a top 10 running back in this league. He's going to make you miss every once in a while. He is really strong. He's really shifty. But I thought overall, TJ Edwards, Davion Taylor, I'll go back through the film tomorrow, and Ike will as well, to get a better sense. But just watching the game live, I was really impressed with both guys.
Well, and the defense had 2 big assignments 2 weeks in a row. DeAndre Swift last week, and then this week, Austin Eckler. And I thought they did a pretty good job both weeks limiting those 2 players as best as they could.
Yeah, and it's what we say, friend. You got to get as many hats to the ball as you can. And it's team defense. And when your linebackers and your front 4, they tackle well and they can handle the running backs, it allows those guys on the back end to just strictly worry about the wide receivers and the tight ends. The less they have to worry about coming up to make tackles versus running backs, the better off your pass defense is going to be.
I think a lot of people are looking at the completion percentage for opposing quarterbacks and saying that is an issue. And look, you don't want as many completions consecutively as the Eagles have given up. But overall, when you play defense the way that they do, the completions are okay, right? I mean, Jared Goff completed how many passes in a row last week? The Lions were never in it, right? The completions are okay. It's about getting bodies to the football and limiting yards after catch and making sure you try and get off the field. The completions are all right. You're trying to prevent the big plays after the catch as well. So that's one thing that they just have to get straightened out. But overall, the defense was executing pretty well today.
Up front, it looked a little different of a performance than it did last week. Last week, obviously, we saw a ton of sacks, a lot of pressure to Jared Goff. Justin Herbert had a lot more time in the pocket this week as opposed to Jared Goff last week. Dave Spadaro touched on that a little bit. But they still did a great job in terms of making those big stops. You would have liked to see it at the end in that 4th quarter. But that first half, I mean, they had they got the ball back 2 times in 4th down stop situations. So that was huge for that defensive front to kick things off in that way in the first half.
And in 2 areas where the Chargers could have got points. I mean, so those were big stops on 4th down. And, I mean, listen, we're going to need a little more from our edge rushers. Just to be flat out. You're going to need more from the edge rushers.
I have to cut you off. We have Nick Sirianni at the podium.
You were upset with the official about the 2-minute warning after that 1st and 15 play. What was that about?
After the
1st and 15, they had the play action to the tight end.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually I was on them a couple times, so I'm not really sure which one you're talking about. But yes, it's just the heat of the game. Sometimes is you kind of that happens sometimes. I always understand that the officials have a very tough job, and their job is hard too. In that, you know, and it's kind of how it goes for full circle. I'll recognize that, even though sometimes I'll get on them. But they have a tough job, and they did their job, and they did. I don't actually. I'm sorry.
What was his explanation? It appeared that the offensive lineman. It was an illegal offensive lineman downfield. What was the official's explanation?
I thought it was. They thought it wasn't. And so, I mean, that's the way it goes sometimes. With that play, we've actually, as our offense, we know we've made strides as on penalties as our team. We've actually stopped running that play because we didn't think we could get that off without our guys being downfield. And so that was my conversation with them. And I have to look at the tape. And again, I know they have a hard job, and so I'm not here to criticize them at all. They said they were 2 yards downfield, which is legal, and so I got to trust that. In that.
On that Chargers final drive, what would you have liked your defense to do differently?
Well, obviously you want they kept them in the 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Obviously you want to be able to get the stop, and I thought they did a good job of not jumping off sides. Chargers, I thought they might kick the field goal after they went the no-brainer, but they didn't, and hats off to them. They executed. But anytime they convert on a short yardage, I mean, I know that the percentages are high on short yardage. I'm not sure exactly what they are league-wide, but obviously you just want to get a stop in that scenario. And so I'll have to look at the tape of the execution, the call, and everything like that. But you just want to get a stop there in that scenario and give the ball back to the offense. I mean, that's the name of the game, and that's what you want to happen in that scenario.
For completion percentage for Justin Herbert, did Jonathan mix it up enough to your satisfaction?
Obviously, anytime you play a quarterback like Justin Herbert, there's no surprise. I think he's a good quarterback. We all know he's a good quarterback. You got to be on your A game, and you got to be, and it starts with us as coaches. And so, and I'm not going to say, Jonathan anything, because that's, my name's on that, right? So whatever happens out there on that field, my name's on. Offensively, defensively, I'm not the offensive coordinator, I'm the head coach. So, but again, it's all of us together. So it's myself. It's first myself getting the right calls and putting the players in position, then Jonathan, and then the players executing. And so, of course, again, when a guy comes away, he's 84%. You're going to say that we didn't do our job, right? And so we just got to be better. Again, I'll have to go look at the tape and look at all the calls, but obviously not good enough starting with myself and by the defense there with the pass defense.
How did you feel like Jalen handled himself on that fourth quarter drive, the one that tied?
Yeah, he was a stud. He was a big time stud. I mean, really, I got a lot of respect for Brandon Staley. I mean, they knew we were moving the ball really well on offense, and he didn't leave anything on it. I'm pretty confident that he didn't leave anything on his call sheet. He started coming with different things, and I think they had a blitz zero on that last play. Jalen ended up. We all saw that. We ended up getting to a play. Jalen ended up doing great communication to tell everybody what the play was, and then just fired a strike to Devonta. But what I think was really, really impressive, obviously that throw was really unbelievable in the face of some pressure and in the face of, I know that the offense line did a heck of a job just protecting against that blitz zero, but that's advanced football right there, to be able to see what was going on and to be able to get the communication at the line of scrimmage and talk and everybody on the same page for a 28-yard score, I believe it was. And then just a couple of the drives he made, he just was really unfazed by the scenario, and he just showed a lot of poise. Down 7. There was nothing. Everything in his eyes said, "Put it on me," and let's go. Let's keep running the ball. Let's keep play action it. Let's make sure we're converting on third downs. And he made some unbelievable plays on third down. That play where he jumped over top and did the flip. And I think if we would have won that game, that'd be a play that they showed over Philly for a long time. But he just was really composed in a tight situation, and that's what you want out of your quarterbacks. That's what I've seen out of good quarterbacks in my past. And so we definitely got to build on this. There's no secret. Jalen's had good practice the last 2 weeks. He's played 2 good games in a row. And so we just got to go back and have another week like we did last week offensively to put ourselves in a position to win next week.
How much did the running game kind of help set up Jalen's throwing, especially in the second half, later in the season?
Yeah, I think when you're running the ball like that, the defenses have to, they have to do different things to stop the run, right? Because I think that's when you I'm not sure exactly what we have, guys, 170 or something like that. When you're running the ball like that, again, there's different answers the defense has to come with, right? Because you just never, as a defense, want to get the ball pushed down your throat. And so they end up doing different things, which ends up naturally opening up some different avenues. So, there's a lot of different things they can do. They could blitz a linebacker, leave somebody alone, one less zone in the secondary. They can knife defenders, knife the nickel, knife the defensive end, which sets up some of your outside zone stuff. So we just have to identify what they're doing and then attack from there. And I think our coaches did a nice job, with just kind of our offensive coaches did a nice job of seeing what they were doing, communicate what they were doing, so we could get to the answers off of some of the things that the Chargers were doing to us on defense. So good job by the coaches, but even better job by the players executing with the run and the play action game.
What was this week like for Devonta?
Yeah, I'm not going to go there. I know, you guys can ask him if he wants to open up about that. Every conversation I have with players is going to be private, and but he handled himself like a pro, so I'll let him answer that for him.
Your vantage point of knowing what he went through this week to watch him go out there today and play as he did.
Yeah, Devontae's on. He's just again, I don't know exactly everything. Again, you'll have to ask him, and he can open up that with that. But obviously, I would think that's going to be on his mind. I'm not in his shoes in that scenario, but it's on his mind. But he went out and did his job this week, and again, I that's what I expect out of Devonta, just because he's just a high character person, high character kid, high football character, loves this game, and I'm happy with the way he played today.
I know you want to win games, but what type of growth have you kind of seen over the last couple of weeks, even in this loss, from all three units?
Sure. I think one thing that is we've continued to. Sorry about that, guys. We've continued to cut down on some self-inflicted wounds. We had some today in some critical scenarios where we're going to need to get back and need to go back to the drawing board. But in this league, so many times my experience has been that. You can lose games instead of win games, right? And so we're trending in the right direction in that. We've done offensively. We would like to take the ball away more on defense, and we're going to continue to strip at it. Those come in bunches when you get it. Offensively, starting with Jalen, because the ball touches his hands every down. He's done a good job of taking care of the football. You put yourself. When you take care of the football, you give yourself a chance to win at least every week when you're taking care of the football. But we got again we got a lot of growing to do still, and we're just the formula is not easy. The formula of getting better is not easy, but we know what it is, right? It's going to work every single day. We can go on a run, but what I told the guys is there is no 8. We don't come in this next week and get all 8 wins right there, if that's how many games we have left, right? You got to go 1-0 each week, and the only way to do that is to grow every single day and to go to work like they went to work last week. And so I do see growth in this football team. I think we all see that. But we just got to keep growing, because again, there's no more victories in this league, right? A loss is a loss is a loss is a loss, and that one hurt, and we got to get back and get better from this.
Why do you think your pass rush struggled to get home today?
Herbert does do a good job of getting the ball out, and Allen has some good things where he can work the middle of the field. I've kind of seen that with him over the years with Keenan. Being able to work the middle of the field, and so when they're able to get the ball out quick, we got to be able to tighten up with the coverage to be able to get Herbert to hold the ball a little bit. They did a nice job on a couple boots. I think they took advantage of a couple things with our defensive ends pinching down, where they did a couple nice things with boots and getting Herbert on the move. They had the big long pass to get him on the move right there too, with the long one to Williams, but. Again, so those are some of the things we gotta be able to fix to be able to get after the passer.
All right, I think we got
Thanks.
Devonta.
Devonta, what was this week like for you?
First off, my heart breaks for everybody that was involved, the family of the young lady that lost her life. But it was rough at the beginning, but just coming in every day, being with the guys, they kind of gathered with me, helped me out a lot. So At the end of the week, beginning of the week, it was tough, but I mean, eventually the guys helped me get through it.
How difficult was it to play today? Did you have to put that behind?
It kind of gave me a bigger purpose. I mean, just going out there playing for my brother, knowing that he can't play right now, so it just kind of gave me a bigger purpose just to go out there.
Have you been able to communicate with him in any way?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him. I mean, we discussed everything. He's in good spirits. I mean, I'm just glad that he's himself. He's gotten himself together, and he's not just down on himself.
How were you able to focus this week? What was your process like?
I mean, once I got on the field, it kind of went away. I mean, I know I had a task at hand, had to focus on football. So, I mean, once I got on the field, it kind of got away.
And who were the people in the building who were sort of helpful to you? Who were the teammates who you leaned on?
Just everybody. I mean, everybody was there for me. Everybody lifted me up, the whole team.
Nick talked about how you're a professional. Has that been something that has been hard to do this week? Like, has it been hard to compartmentalize football from everything else?
I mean, once you walk on the field, everything that isn't football kind of goes out the window, honestly. It's like you have another headspace out there, and that's what you focus on.
On the field, do you think this is the best you played this year, or up there for?
I mean, I still can grow. Got some things I felt like I could have done better. I mean, just continue to attack. I mean, watch the film, get better from it.
How were you able to bounce back from the last few games, which maybe there were a few passes early on that you probably, I assume, would have thought you should have had? How were you able to kind of overcome them?
It was small mistakes, me not looking the ball all the way in, not concentrating. So the whole week I just focused on that, concentrating, looking the ball all the way in.
Devonta, it had been a minute since you found the end zone. What did it mean to score today, especially after a week like this?
I mean, it's just going out there, just doing my job. I mean, you go out there and when you execute, the ball finds who it's supposed to find.
How did you got that ball at the 7-yard line and I guess kind of raced into the corner of the end zone? Did you kind of feel like you could get in at that point?
I mean, every time I get the ball in my hands, I mean, my intentions are to score. So, I mean, I was there, and I mean, I got in.
That play at the end of the first half in the end zone, the third down, when Jalen threw it to you and it was incomplete. Did he change that play at the line?
No, I mean, it was kind of a dummy check. Just kind of throw the defense off. But, I mean, if I would have ran a better route, we would have connected.
You think that was on you?
Yeah, I mean, I stumbled a little bit in my route. If I wouldn't have stumbled, I would have been where I was supposed to be.
Do you think that your relationship at the professional level is growing with Jalen to the point where you can sort of anticipate what each other's going to do? And is it progressing, do you think?
Yeah, as an offense, I mean, that's what you practice for, day in, day out, just to be with each other, to get better. I mean, the more that you do it, the more you attack it every day, the better the offense gets, the better the team gets.
Do you feel like this offense has made strides these last 2 weeks? Maybe not throwing as much, but in creating an identity?
Most definitely. I mean, you want to be balanced as an offense where you can do both, and I feel like we're getting there, and we're going to continue to chip at that.
Thank you.
Why has it been so difficult, so challenging to get the quarterback at home?
I mean, every week is different. I think this week they were just getting the ball out so quick. It was kind of hard to get to them.
Yeah, but I mean, in 4 games, you guys have only had 1 sack at home.
I mean, I guess we just got to watch the film and see that. I really didn't know that's how it was at home.
How frustrating is it when the quarterback's getting the ball out that quickly and you can't get home in a short amount of time?
I mean, it's definitely frustrating. Like I said, we got great rushers, so you really don't get a chance to show it when he getting the ball out like that.
Were they doing anything different up front that you guys had seen on film, the Chargers, in terms of how they were blocking?
I feel like every week people just play us different. So it was a lot of things that they did that we didn't see on film.
Could you name a couple things that maybe stood out to you? Or?
They chipped more than usual, middle set. Like you say, the ball coming out quicker than we expected. Hurry up stuff, just little things.
Is there a play or situation from this game as you look back that you would want to have back?
I mean, it's a lot of plays that I feel like if we would have did certain things, we could have got off the field.
On those 2 4th and 1s on the final drive, you guys were close on those?
I mean, I definitely feel like we had some chances on, especially that 4th and 1 that come up big, but we didn't get the job done.
After the timeout, did you think they were going to kick the field goal? Or did you think they would keep their offense up?
I figured they was going to keep the offense up. It's 4th and 1 with the game on the line. I pretty much knew they was going to go for it.
Didn't go for it?
Yeah, I definitely did.
Because you wanted the defense to make a play there?
Oh, most definitely.
Getting the ball out that quickly, what kind of adjustments can you make, in game to kind of take that away or get more pressure? Is there anything you can do?
I mean, for us, we just got to keep rushing and hopefully one time he give us a chance and we just make the play.
Should there have been more blitzes?
I ain't the defensive coordinator, so I don't really, I don't do things like that, so I just play what I play.
Appreciate it.
Heard from Coach, handful of players. Devonta Smith obviously had some tough personal questions to answer, but we cannot forget the game that he had today. I think today was a huge opportunity for him to start getting worked into that offense. We've seen glimpses of him. We've seen, a really good pass and the yards he picks up after the catch. But today, I think it was huge for him to start stacking those catches one after another and really being a difference maker in some of these drives.
Yeah, young fella is getting better little by little each week. He's learning that in the NFL, it's a lot harder. You got to update your resume every weekend. These veteran corners, whether you've heard of them or not, they are studying you for hours. They're studying your moves. They're studying what you struggle with, what you like as far as a receiver. And you're going to have to come out there with something to counter that each week. And I think that's what Devonta is learning through his first season as a wide receiver. The natural ability is there. It's the reason why he was the best receiver in college football last year. He doesn't drop balls typically. He is fluid when running routes. He can certainly get open with the subtle moves that he uses. My next step for Devonta is going to be working that middle of the field. And I'm not saying he needs to be an Anquan Bolden or any type of big physical type of receiver, but eventually they're going to know that he likes to go from the hash to the sideline, and that's all they have to defend. So eventually DBs will start to cheat routes when covering him. He's going to have to add that next element to his game, which is working that middle of the field, yards after the catch, running across the field, things of that nature. But I love everything that we've seen from him. I was a little concerned about his size and whether or not durability would be a factor, but man, it hasn't even been a question all year long. He's been ready to go every week.
No question. I think when you look even at him as a blocker, we saw that last week in the run game, him getting after it. He's going to try and make his presence felt no matter what kind of game it is. So if it's a running game, hey, I'm going to give my effort. I give my 100% effort on the perimeter. We had him mic'd up this past week, so you can go check that out on PhiladelphiaEagles.com and all the Eagles digital channels. So you saw him getting after it in the run game, but we know when the ball's there to be made, when the play's there to be made, he more often than not is going to go out and make the play.
Representative from the other side of the ball, Javon Hargrave. We talk about him every week on this show. We give him his praise, but I think we don't talk enough about the difference maker he has become on this defense, especially losing Brandon Graham in the beginning of the season was huge. Javon Hargrave did not skip a beat, and he, week in and week out, proves to be just such a great addition to this team.
Yeah, now he's getting the extra attention. Now, when they game plan for this Eagles front four, particularly that interior part of the defensive line with Fletcher and Javon, those guys are going to see a lot of attention. They just are. And that's why when you get the edge rushers going, it's going to free it up for those guys in the middle. No need to be alarmed that we aren't hearing Javon's name as much as we were in the first 6-7 weeks of the season. He's still giving the same effort. He's still being disruptive. They just now are aware of where he's at, particularly on passing downs.
Yeah, and to me, just looking at the pass rush in this game, just not good enough, right? Really, the only time I can remember Justin Herbert being hit was on that penalty that was the roughing the passer on Steven Nelson, right? So the pass rush just has to be better. And that's not just on the defensive line. That's a full defensive thing because as Hargrave pointed out, if the ball's coming out early, well, then things have to change in order to prevent that ball from always coming out super, super fast. And so just overall, the rush has got to be a little bit better. And third down, I mean, we talked about it in the open here on the show, was just offensively on third down, some of the issues the Eagles had, they still led to success, but process versus results, you have that kind of discussion. Defensively, that's second to last drive. We talked about those last 2 drives. They were just unable to get off the field. That's second to last drive. The Eagles faced 3 third downs on defense. You had the Darius Slay penalty.
Fran, I have to cut you off. Yep. We're actually going to stick with the defense. TJ Edwards at the podium.
You were kind of sitting in front of Nick when I think something happened with the crowd. Did you see what happened there as Nick was walking into the tunnel?
No, I have no idea. No, I have no idea what happened there. Didn't know anything was going on, to be honest with you.
TJ, you guys you held them to 16 points midway through the third, and what happened from that point forward?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we didn't make enough plays, and I can only speak defensively and special teams wise. We didn't make enough plays to win the game. I thought we were in position at times, and it just comes down to the details of things. And I thought, all the guys gave just so much effort. We put so much into it, and to fall short for this one, it hurts for sure.
The play where you had the tackle on third and whatever it was, short of the first down. What did you think of the spot on that play?
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, we got to play the down no matter where the ball is, and just keep rolling. We can't really focus on complaining or anything like that. We have to get ready for the next play. That's not our call, and that's not what this team does, is complain about the external factors. We just get ready to go and play the next snap.
On the fourth down, towards the end,
yeah.
Can you kind of describe what was going on and like how close you guys think you might have come to stopping them?
Yeah, on the sneak you're talking about? Yeah, I thought at first I thought we had it. It's got such good push. When you got Fletch and Hargrave and all the big dudes up there, they're hard to move. So I thought, again, man, it was so close, it was so tight, and that's kind of how it kind of went most of the game. We didn't make that one play to stop the drive or things like that. So obviously it's disappointing, but no give up on this team at all.
What happened on the play a couple plays later when Eckler burst through?
Just kind of like a outside zone where they kind of winded it back a little bit, and obviously just good execution by them. And again, it just comes down to those plays that we got to make, not myself included. And obviously I wish a couple that I could have had back for sure, but I thought we just battled all game and fought to the very end. So I mean, you got to hold your head high on that.
Were there adjustments made after Herbert was completing so many passes? I think he completed 23 of 24 at one point.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that. He does a good job of getting the ball out quick, and obviously they've got great weapons all around them in terms of receivers in the back and tight ends. So, yeah, I mean, they just, obviously they came out and hit a couple out routes and things like that, but nothing that we weren't prepared for or ready for. So, again, man, it just comes down to making those couple plays that we needed.
On the final 4th and 1, after they called the timeout, did you think they would stay on the field with their offense?
Yeah. We kind of knew going into it that even if, we got to stop on, third and 2, 3rd and 3, that fourth down, they were going to go for it. So we were ready for it, but I mean, we fought so hard on all those 4th downs. They were so close, so we just got to get that extra push, that extra play, and they'll come. I'm confident for sure.
You got them off the field on the first 2 4th downs.
Yeah.
On that final drive, I know the distance was a difference, but I guess was there anything else that was different with those 4th downs in the final drive?
No, I mean, you guys saw, like, we had a couple 4th downs that it was so close, inches, I'd say. So that's what you want to do. You want to challenge those plays. You want to make them think about going for the next one, and we didn't make the stops when we needed to.
Their tight ends seem to do a lot of damage today. What were the challenges of facing those guys? Why did they have such good games?
Yeah, I mean, they're really good blockers, so you have to count for them in the run game, and then they do a good job of kind of holding their block and sneaking out late. So it's just kind of comes down to eye discipline and things like that. I mean, again, it's a really good football team with a lot of good weapons on it, so you have to account for a lot of people. And I thought we had a great scheme coming in, a great execution for most part. We just those couple plays, man, we needed them.
TJ,
Yeah, I mean, I thought when it was the right time, we sent pressure and we had looks that, we had to get out of pressure because it's not the right look to run those blitzes. So, again, I thought schematically we were ready to go. We were prepared. We had a great week of practice. It comes down to executing on those big time plays that we need.
TJ, what does this team need to do over the next 8 weeks to make you guys feel like you guys have built something for the future?
Yeah. So I think, obviously these are really tough losses, and we've been through a couple of them. But when we get back in the building tomorrow, we'll get right into it. We'll get our corrections. You feel no type of quit, no type of discouragement. Obviously disappointed and frustrated, but there's no give up on anybody. I think we have such good leaders on this team who hold people accountable and also make sure that everybody's on the same page. So I'm sure we'll come in tomorrow. We'll have the music bumping in the weight room, and we'll get right back to it. Appreciate you guys.
Jalen, how tough was it watching that last drive from the sideline and knowing that you wouldn't have time?
It's very tough. I think for me, I always look at it. What could I have done better to change the outcome of the game? And that's how I look at it all the time. You look at every opportunity you have and taking advantage of every opportunity. And there are some opportunities that, whether it was a perfect situation or not, whether it was perfect, pocket or not, or whatever it was, I didn't make the play early in the game. And those are the things that are on my mind right now. The things that I didn't do to help this team win football games. So, win this football game, excuse me. So, it hurts. It hurts to see another team go out there and it not be in your hands in the end of the game to go out there and win it. That's why you play the game. That's why you play this position, really to have it in your hands, to go win it. And, in the end, put ourselves in a good situation, good position to obviously go tied and continue to keep it a game. But ultimately, in the end, we didn't get the ball back, and we didn't get the opportunity to go out there and score. So it's a really good football team we just played. A lot of respect for Justin Herbert, guy that came out the same year I did, and a lot of respect for him, a lot of respect for their team.
Specifically, which play
you're referring to? Was that the throw to Devonta in the end zone?
I have two. I was expecting something else. Ended up getting out of the pocket and made a throw, kind of backpedaling. Maybe I didn't need to do that. Ended up leading them too much. It's a missed opportunity in my eyes. And then I think about the opening drive, I believe, to Dallas Goedert. Couldn't really follow through my throw. Couldn't finish through it, but maybe I could have, got deeper in the pocket knowing that, bringing 5, kind of hard to block man on man sometimes. And it's something again that I'm going to learn from. But I look at it as a missed opportunity for me, regardless of the late game, and what that looks like, and putting us in a position to go win. It's about what you didn't do.
You've been asked a lot about identity, offensive identity. Do you feel like though these last 2 weeks that you guys are getting closer to what you can be a week-to-week winning team?
Clearly, I think we've taken steps throughout the year. I think we've grown. I think I've said it. I think we've communicated better from coach to player. I think we've had better conversations, and we've become to be on the same page on a more consistent basis. And it's going out there and it's showing. In a game like that, third downs are critical. Both teams are doing well, running the ball efficiently, passing it efficiently. Came down to a third down game. And some opportunities early in the game that we didn't take advantage of. Defense made 2 great stops on 4th down, and that's something we have to capitalize on. It's a lot to learn from, but again, a great football team we just played. And the biggest thing I take away from this is coming out fast and taking advantage of the opportunities we have. I have no doubt in my mind at the end of the game that the plays are going to be made to win the game, But we got to take advantage of them early.
Are you satisfied with the flow of the offense, though, these last 2 weeks? The fact that you've been able to show a lot of balance. I mean, is that something you can take? Obviously, you want to win, but is that making progress in that way?
I think you said it there in the end, I'm not satisfied with losing. I never will be, as long as I'm here on this earth, So we have to find ways to come out. We have done it, but doing it consistently. There's an urgency around here. There's a want to around here. There's an effort around here. Doing it consistently, coming out and dominating from the jump, and taking advantage of the opportunities we have. You go against the best of the best in this league, and when you have those opportunities, you have to take advantage of them, and that's something that I've learned, in this young beginning time for me.
What was your advantage point of? You said.
Go ahead.
A few moments ago, you said regardless of the way you played late in the game, but that final drive you had still happened. What do you think you showed or proved on that final offensive drive?
It's not about none of that. It's not about none of that. I expect to do those things. I also expect to come out and start fast, do the things I need to do early in the game. We're looking at a potential 10-point differential in the game, maybe 14. So the stuff in the end, that's. I expect that to happen. My coaches expect that to happen. Coach Sirianni has all the trust in me to go out there and do those things. But what I came here and I said, what could I have done better from the jump? And what are the opportunities that I didn't take advantage of as a quarterback of this team? Good, bad, and different. I want to be better, and I got to be better in the end. We have to be better as a group, but I hold myself to a very high standard.
What was your vantage point of what Devonta went through this week, and then also what he did today?
Obviously, I have a lot of love for Devonta. Love him like a brother. I have a lot of love for Henry Ruggs as well. I love him like a brother. I'm a Bama brother. And it's tough for all of us to experience what we experienced this week and how tragic of a situation it was. But we're our warriors, and we all see it through, And I think Devonta made some big time plays today, and he'll continue to do that for us.
Do you feel like the chemistry between you and Devonta really has kind of taken off, especially in the second half?
I think it's, you know, when you got to make a play, the plays have to be made. And, you know, it's a situation in that game. We had to make those plays to stay in it. And we made them. And everybody has the confidence in everybody. Devonta made the plays in the end, but it wasn't enough. None of it was enough to win. So I'll say it again. You take away something from this, coming out from where it said go, first quarter, taking advantage of every opportunity and being consistent in that and maintaining that throughout the course of the game. If we do that, I already know we're a good football team, but our record will reflect what type of team we know we are. So it's all about winning.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Thanks, John. John, is that?
That was your quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Touched on a bunch of different things from today's performance. As always, Jalen Hurts always stands up there like a leader, takes responsibility for the things that didn't go well. But things that went right today, a lot of that is because of his performance.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's tough for Jalen because you think about the one or two plays that you wish you could have back, and that's what's sticking in his head. We've mentioned it, he mentioned it, so you know he's thought about those two plays. And in a game like this, those are the types of plays that won't leave your head because you know that it's going to be one or two plays that's going to either win or lose this game. And I don't think those plays lost the game for the Eagles. Don't make no mistake about that. But as a competitor and him as a quarterback, he knows there's only so many of those opportunities he's going to get, and he wants to capitalize on them. And so leaving the pocket a little bit early and throwing off his back foot to Devonta, he diagnosed that correctly. That's exactly what happened there. You got to be able to step into that throw. He wasn't able to do it. I don't even blame him for the Dallas Goedert play. I know he wants to make a better throw there, but he did have a little pressure in his face, and I'm not sure he was able to follow through with that throw like he would have wanted to. But even he gave us a coaching point there, which I'm pretty sure he got on the sideline, which is he could have took his drop a little deeper if you know you're about to get some pressure on you, just to give yourself a little more time to make that throw. But Jalen is aces, man. He stands up there, doesn't point the finger at anyone else. We know he's all about winning. He doesn't care about individual stats. He has the right mindset and temperament you need to lead the football team. And after tough losses like this, I know he puts a lot of it on himself, but I also know that he's going to be the first one in the building tomorrow, getting things corrected, looking at the film and making sure he sets the tone for this week coming up.
And what does it tell you about the offensive mentality in that room? Because Jalen Hurts is asked, hey, what's going through your mind when the Chargers offense is moving the ball down the field and you guys are sitting on the sideline watching? He said he's referring back to plays that happened in the first quarter. Yeah. Devonta Smith is asked, hey, what was in your mind when Jalen missed you in the end zone? He's like, well, Jalen didn't miss me. I stumbled. I messed up the route. That's why that ball's incomplete. If I don't stumble out of the break, that's a touchdown. So all those guys are always thinking, what can I do better? Yep. Not like what did other guys around me mess up? How did they cost us to lose this game? What could I have done to help us get the W today? And I think it speaks to the mentality of some of the youngest players on this team.
Well, speaking of those young players, we've been talking a lot about Devonta Smith. So earlier today, Fran broke down a big catch he made to set up that Jordan Howard touchdown earlier in the game in this week's Ricoh Review.
Well, let's take a look at one of the biggest completions on the day for quarterback Jalen Hurts. This one off play action in the first half. Jalen Hurts to Devonta Smith. And it's from a look that should be very familiar if you've been paying attention to this Eagles offense over these last couple weeks. You're going to see Jalen Hurts under center. And one of the big plays that we've seen over these last couple of weeks has been Hurts under center, running what are basically 3-level stretches where you're going to have a receiver working vertically down the field, another receiver in the flat, and it's typically been number 88, Dallas Goedert, running into the intermediate area. That's going to be a little different here on this play because what you're going to have instead is you're going to have Quez Watkins, who's lined up off screen as a wide receiver. He's going to run vertically on this play, and you're going to get Devonta Smith working across the field in the intermediate area, and Jordan Howard running underneath. He's going to occupy this underneath defender, that linebacker here, off play action. We're going to let this run here. You're going to see Jalen Hurts drop back. There's the run fake. He's going to hold that linebacker underneath, and Devonta Smith is going to work into the void, wide open for a 27-yard completion. This helps set up the Jordan Howard touchdown to get the Eagles on the board in the first half. A big part of this Eagles offense over these last couple of weeks, Jalen Hurts under center, pair with the run game. Now you get all that play action. Jalen Hurts to Dallas Goedert has been a huge connection over these last couple of weeks. In this game, we saw to Devonta Smith a huge completion in the first half to get the Eagles on the board. Big part of this Eagles offense.
There's a new way for Eagles fans to get a recap of each game. Check out our voice app on Alexa and Google devices. For more information, visit PhiladelphiaEagles.com/voice. Now is your chance to vote for the Toyota Player of the Week. Go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/Toyota Player of the Week to cast your vote and get a chance at a brand new Toyota. All right, guys, here we go. Our 3 nominees kicking things off with our running back, Jordan Howard, his 3rd rushing touchdown in 2 games. There he is, 17 attempts for 71 yards. Next up, quarterback Jalen Hurts. He was 11 for 17, 162 yards and a touchdown. Played a pretty clean game and a little somersault to cap things off. Devonta Smith, here he is, 5 receptions for 116 yards and a TD. What a game from the rookie. All right, guys, what do we think?
Well, I would like to go ahead. I mean, I would give it to the offensive line. Offensive line. Because of the running game today, I would have given it to the offensive line. Jordan Howard, 1 touchdown. Can't give it to him this week. Got to go Devonta. Got to go Devonta Smith.
I agree. I think Devonta Smith absolutely earns it. I believe this will be his first ever Toyota game ball. So I believe this would be his first ever if he were to win.
Good for the young guy. All right, we're going to keep things moving and head to our Jameson nightcap. All right, next week the Eagles hit the road. They're heading to Denver, playing the Broncos at 4:25 p.m. The Broncos are currently 5-4. Their quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, he put on a show today. They destroyed the Cowboys. Okay, doesn't look like it too much from that score. The Cowboys scored their 16 points all in the 4th quarter. Big task at hand for the Eagles. This will actually, fun fact, be their last time on a plane this season.
Yeah.
Huge.
Wow, I felt better about this game prior to today.
This morning when you woke up.
Right. And Denver went out there and played the way they did in Dallas. So I'm sure they're going to be feeling good. They're still in the playoff hunt like a lot of teams are. Won't be an easy game next week for the Eagles, but certainly a winnable game. Denver's one of those young teams that they show flashes. They play well one week, and then they look like they're a young team the following week. So we'll see how the Broncos are able to handle prosperity from an unexpected win today versus the Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles, sure, they're going to get on that plane with the intentions of coming back with a W.
They blitz a ton. That defense, one of the highest volume blitzing teams in the NFL. What I will say selfishly, and just to give you a little bit like peek behind the curtain here, producing Eagles game plan this week, I was looking ahead late last week to the Denver Broncos. Not a lot of juice, right? They just traded Von Miller. Right. They've had some injuries, so I'm like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. They go and beat up the Cowboys. Now we got plenty to talk about this week on the Eagles game plan. So excited for this week of prep for sure.
All right, well, the Broncos beat the Washington football team. Then they just beat the Cowboys. So it's up to the Eagles to go in there and represent the NFC East next week. That kicks off at 4:25. But from us here on the desk, we'll have you covered immediately following the game. I'm Gabriella DiGiovanni for Fran Duffy and Ike Reese. We'll see you next time.